AM Dublin and W246CR Christiansburg.
It's the Drive Sports Center at the top of the hour. Coming up in the NBA, the Pistons host the Bulls at 7 p.m. The Rockets are at the Raptors at 7:30. The Jazz play the Grizzlies at 8. The Lakers take on the Nuggets at 9. The Trailblazers host the Warriors at 10. And at 10:30, the Cavaliers are at the Clippers. In Hokie Sports News, the Virginia Tech women's golf team posted a 3-round total of 18 over 882 and finished 4th at the Hurricane Invitational. The event was played at the Bitmore Golf Course in Florida. Tech posted a 295 Monday and had a 298 in Tuesday's second round. The Hokies' final round, 1 over 289, was the best. The Hokies return March 16th at the 3M Augusta Invitational. The 3-day event will be at the Forest Hills Golf Club in Georgia. For your ESPN Sports Center, I'm Brian Reed.
It's time now for The Drive.
Alrighty then.
On ESPN Blacksburg, 93.1, 97.1, and live on the web at ESPNBlacksburg.com.
It's The Drive on your local radio station. We are ESPN Blacksburg, and a good Friday afternoon.
We made it.
To all of you. I need to get a drink of water after that.
Anna Halls.
Maybe, possibly. I've got a big bag of them over there. We might be able to do something with that. That's right. That thing directly in front of you, ladies and gentlemen, is the weekend. Embrace it. Mm-hmm. Love it.
It's been waiting for you all week.
It has. It's been lurking since Monday. Now you can give it a big old hug the way I used to hug Scott Nason every time I saw him. How are you, buddy?
I'm doing wonderful, Paul, but that little call that you just did after the intro, I think, is banned in several European countries, one being Czechoslovakia.
Oh, well, my big plan this coming summer is I'm going to travel to Czechoslovakia. I'm looking forward to also seeing Constantinople.
It's great. You gotta go by the Hague when you're there. It's fantastic.
I'm really, really excited about that. So college basketball. So here's the deal. I was a little bit upset when the Big Ten announced that they were going to do their tournament at Madison Square Garden and do it a week early. I was like, oh, come on, man. That takes away, the Big Ten was always the last conference tournament to end before Selection Sunday. I'm a little bit, but I got to be honest with you. I'm watching a heck of a lot more college basketball right now from all of these other conference tournaments all over the place because I don't have to worry about what my Michigan Wolverines, Big Ten champions, are doing right now. I'm giddy about this, Scott Nason. Are you in the same boat as me? I mean, your team exited kind of early, so you probably could have watched more conference tournament games anyway. But anyway, I digress. Are you excited about this?
Yeah, I mean, you can look at it one of two ways. First things first, I think the Big Ten having their tournament in New York is a disgrace, being a Big Ten guy, and that there's only a couple schools that are semi-close to there. But, it is what it is. It's almost like Michigan's in the clubhouse. You watch a golf tournament, Michigan's in the clubhouse just kind of waiting for everybody else to finish to see what happens. And, they're going to get a good seed. But I agree. I've had a chance. It's been a busy week with local sports for me, but I've had a chance a little bit. I'm going to watch a little bit tonight of the conference tournaments, and boy, lots going on. And again, not focusing on Michigan State, which isn't a bad thing in my opinion right now. Probably a good thing. So let's talk about it.
Looking around the nation, obviously the Pac-10 going on right now too. A bunch of quarterfinal games were played yesterday. I believe they're going to fire up some games here pretty quickly if they haven't already in the Pac-12. Arizona wins, UCLA wins, USC wins, Oregon a kind of an upset over Utah. Really kind of other than that Oregon-Utah game, everything kind of going according to Hoyle in the Pac-12 right now.
Yeah, it really is. And Oregon's a pretty good team at that 6th seed. And the Pac-12 is a conference that kind of has a lot of question marks as far as how they're going to be doing the tournament because most people on east of the Mississippi River don't really focus on the Pac-12 very much. You see the occasional game. Obviously, Arizona, the team that probably scares me out there, but don't sleep on that Oregon team. If they can somehow manage to sneak their way in, they have a slight chance, only about 14% chance according to the ESPN.com BPI,
right,
which I'm a firm believer in. So if they can somehow sneak themselves into the tournament, they're probably going to have to win out to get there. They could be a dangerous team. But I think Arizona is the class of the Pac-12. I wouldn't want to be matched up against them right now.
The Basketball Power Index is a very powerful index. Do you know, speaking of Oregon, do you know Joey Harrington? Is he still playing hoops for Oregon? Is that...
Nobody's playing the piano, and nobody can tinkle the ivory like Joey Blue Skies.
All right, okay. I was curious. One of my favorite Oregonian basketball players is Joey Harrington.
Yeah, he's fantastic. He did better in basketball than he did for the Lions. I can tell you that much.
Exactly. SEC tournament going on yesterday. Alabama won. Today, Alabama won. Interestingly enough, though, today they beat Auburn, which Auburn firmly in the tournament. But if you're Alabama, man. Ooh, that's a big win for you, knocking off Auburn.
Yeah, it's not exactly the Iron Bowl on the basketball court, but it is a rivalry in any sport, and Alabama's going to need to win the tournament to get in right now.
Right.
Maybe not. No, I should say they are going to make the tournament. Excuse me, I was thinking of somebody else.
Right.
But yeah, anytime you beat Auburn, and the best part of it is Charles Barkley can be quiet about college basketball, at least for a couple days.
Do you really think that's going to happen?
Not at all.
Okay. All right. Big 12 tournament. Like this one is it's Kansas and everybody else. This one is tough to get excited for unless you're looking at those middle kind of the road teams, the West Virginias, the Texas Techs, the Baylors of the world. Baylor obviously loses to West Virginia yesterday, but unless you're interested in where those teams are going to be seated, and I know we've got West Virginia fans here because we're that close to West Virginia, when you have a foregone conclusion like Kansas winning the Big 12, is it tough to get excited for these tournaments?
Well, it is. I mean, Oklahoma's the team that's just dropped off the map. I mean, they still might find themselves in the tournament. They may squeak by, but boy, that's a team that just was doing all sorts of damage in just the last month or two. They've done nothing. But yeah, Kansas is one of these teams that always seems to be there. They always seem to win this tournament or at least win the Big 12. So I got really nothing on the Big 12 tournament. I would watch some of the mid-major tournaments over that one.
Well, in the Big East, not exactly a mid-major, but you got Xavier, you've got Villanova. Butler beat Seton Hall yesterday, so Butler has got a shot maybe at making the tournament. I don't know. I have a hard time, though. I got to be honest with you. Even though I know Xavier and Villanova are good, I have a real hard time buying the Big East right now.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot else, and you just don't have, the traditional teams that we grew up with in the Big East. You have a few of them. St. John's was a nice story. They got rolled by Xavier.
Yeah.
You have Providence. But again, Xavier and Villanova in the Big East final, and they are two of the top three teams in the country. I agree. I have a hard time getting excited about that one. Go back to the Georgetowns and the Syracuses and those teams that were playing the Big East. That was something to see. Those are always highlight games. Big East now, not even our father's Big East, not even our Big East.
No, it really isn't. The American Athletic Conference, you mentioned the mid-majors. Again, there are some big schools in here like UConn, but UConn has really dropped off the map in recent years. It wasn't that long ago that they were playing for a national championship and winning it. You got the Memphises of the world, SMU. You get excited for the American Athletic Conference tournament?
Not at all. Again, it's just these conferences that have been put together that just have these teams from all these different areas. You have UConn that used to be in the Big East. You have South Florida. I don't even know who they were at before. Memphis used to be in the whatever conference they were in. It just seems like they just picked and choose some of the teams from about 4 different conferences, plugged them all in, and it's hard to get excited about something where you just don't have those natural rivalries like you do even in the ACC, You have it in the Pac-12, you have it in the Big Ten, but other than maybe one or two others, you just don't have it anymore.
Yeah, and then the SEC is kind of wide open, and we already mentioned the Big 12. I mean, it's Kansas and everybody else, so it's tough to get excited for those. In the ACC, though, we did have some interesting things play out yesterday. And of course, North Carolina, on paper, upsets Miami. I really don't feel like that was an upset. Miami was, I know they earned that 3 seed. Miami was way overseeded at a 3. Duke ends up winning their contest. Virginia wins their contest. Clemson wins their contest. It's the usual suspects in the ACC, Scott, but it does make for some interesting semifinal basketball tonight.
And, anytime North Carolina and Duke, your listeners are very much familiar with those teams in that rivalry, even across the country. That's one you're going to watch. That's one I'm going to turn on. You would expect Virginia probably to beat Clemson, but Clemson's a very good team. And you got 2 of the top 20 teams, or 4 of the top 20 teams in the nation playing in the semifinals. So, all 4 of those teams, I wouldn't want to meet any of them in the tournament.
Darius and I were talking off the air. UVA versus Clemson. Over under for Clemson to score 40 points in this contest.
I got a little bit over, maybe the mid-40s, but I would take the over, but I wouldn't bet a lot. Let's just put it that way. It's going to be a low-scoring Clemson output, I think.
I think the last time they played Clemson put up less than 40. I could be wrong in that one, but that UVA defense, it's tough to watch. It's boring to watch. It's like Georgia Tech football, but at the end of the day, man, they get the job done, at least in the conference tournament.
They really do, and they're going to be one of the top seeds come Sunday at 6 o'clock. You're probably going to have, some are saying Villanova and Xavier. Some are saying whoever wins that one. Kansas likely a 1 seed. Duke, do they get a 1 seed if they win out the ACC tournament? I don't know, but Virginia, even with a loss tonight, probably will have a number 1 seed.
Right now, Joe Lunardi has it as Kansas, Xavier, Villanova, and Virginia. If it's not that way, is it Duke over a Xavier or Villanova, or do you look at, you can't make Purdue, Cincinnati, you can't even really probably make North Carolina a number 1 unless they win the tournament. Who replaces Villanova or Xavier? Because nobody's going to replace Kansas, nobody's going to replace Virginia.
I think, in my opinion, the only way that a Villanova or Xavier doesn't get a 1 seed is the loser of that game if they do play, and if Duke wins the ACC tournament. I think Duke's the only team that can move up right now. You look at the other 2 seeds predicted. Cincinnati, they're not going to. Purdue, no way. They didn't win the Big Ten or the tournament. North Carolina, I think even winning the ACC tournament, they're ranked too low. They've had too many losses, so I don't see them getting a 1 seed. So I think Duke is the only one that can sneak up if they win the ACC tournament.
All right, so give me your predictions for tonight, Scott Nason. UVA versus Clemson. You've already said Clemson maybe scores just over 40. You got UVA winning this thing going away?
I think so. They've been the most consistent team in the country this year, and that defense is not pretty to watch, as you said, Paul, but boy, it wins ball games, and I like Virginia by double digits.
All right, and how about the Duke-UNC game, 9 o'clock tonight on ESPN and the Watch ESPN app? Number 2 versus number 6, but I really think it feels almost more like number 2 versus number 3. What do you got for this one?
To me, it is the number 2 versus number 3. Throw the seedings out the window. I wish both teams could lose personally, but I think one will end up winning. And it pains me to say it. I think Duke is a little bit of a better team right now, and so give me Duke.
All right.
Those are some bad teams in there, Paul. 4 of them. I want nothing to do with any of them.
Well, you're not alone, at least not from our listener base, from what I can tell. Clemson may be the one team that people are indifferent enough about that if they were to somehow win, that everybody would be like, yeah, okay, I can live with that. But any of the other 3, there's going to be weeping and gnashing of teeth going on.
Absolutely. But you know what? Virginia Tech's going to make the tournament. Michigan and Michigan State are going to make the tournament, Paul, and you can throw everything out the window come Sunday because it's a new season and let the games begin.
Scott Nason, Tuesday, Wednesday, play-in games. Will you watch?
No, I can't. I have tried over the past few years, and it's just And good for those schools, and if I was a follower of one of those schools or an alum, I would definitely watch it, but it's just, no. I can't. The 11 seeds, right now, looking at it, there's one team that's very familiar to me, being a Michigan State fan, Middle Tennessee State.
Yes,
right now, according to Mr. Lenardi, would play Louisville in the 11 versus 11 playing game. That would be a watchable game. I would watch that, but the 16 seeds, forget it. I don't care who they are, not watching it.
Middle Tennessee State, my third favorite basketball team right now.
Am I not surprised by that?
Yeah, absolutely. Scott Nason, where can our listeners hear more from you, my man?
You can go to my podcast page of the Sports Show The Game, and you can find it at thegamesportshow.podbean.com. And Paul, also included on that podcast page, I do some high school broadcasts. My 11-year-old son joined me for a district final broadcast. It's on there. If your listeners have a couple minutes, check it out. He is going to be a rising superstar, maybe working for you someday.
There you go. Maybe I'll work for him. How about that?
That sounds good. And nepotism is alive and well up here, my friend.
Hey, by the way, did he ever get his Lions shirt?
We're working on that one there. We'll get to that next week, and there will be visual evidence, I might add.
I may have to make a drive up there just to make sure that this happens. I feel like Vinny's messing with me by not paying up on his end of the bet.
Well, I will say this: as soon as I get paid for my fantasy football, so wear the Lions shirt. How's that? How's them apples for you, sir?
Checks in the mail, my man. All right, Scott. As always, we appreciate you. Look forward to chatting with you again next week.
Have a good weekend, guys.
Right.
Thanks for having me.
Take care. Scott Nason joining us, D. Quite curious. I mean, you and I were talking off the air. I am. I'm setting the over-under at 40.5 points, so less than 41 for Clemson today. You think the over?
Heck no.
No?
Not even.
You don't think Clemson will get to 40?
No.
All right, hold up.
No. I think no, I don't think they will.
I like it.
I don't think they will.
I mean, I don't like it because it's UVA, but
yeah, exactly. But I will say this:
yeah,
Tech fans still be hopeful. Tech is the only team that beat all four teams playing tonight.
Yeah,
Duke, UNC, UVA, and Clemson.
Yeah,
Tech beat all four.
Yeah, that is a very, very good point. Duke, UNC, who you got tonight?
My heart says go with Duke. My gut says UNC. I'm gonna go Duke.
Duke.
Yeah.
I feel like Duke's just got too much now.
They're too dangerous. They're too. I mean,
yep.
Even with the big men coming off the bench, they're too dangerous.
I got to be honest with you. I kind of, sort of, there's a part of me, maybe it's a sick, twisted part, but there is a part of me that wants to see Duke UVA, and I want to see, because UVA in that game earlier this year kind of exerted their will on Duke.
Yeah.
I want to see if they can do it again. If UVA can do that again,
they're dangerous in the tournament.
They are very dangerous in the tournament.
I agree.
And that would be a deciding factor in how I fill out my bracket.
Yeah, I was going to say, that would determine how I felt in my bracket.
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree.
Quick break. When we come back, Tina will join us. We'll find out if there's anything traffic-related going on in the New River Valley. It's next. It's part of the True North Title Traffic Report on your local radio station. We are ESPN Blacksburg.
ESPN Blacksburg, 93.1, 97.1.